Hello, dear friends. I hope we've all had a really great week. Welcome to our community practice Sunday check-in session, a half hour of Dharma, reflection, and community connections. If you are new to our community, please accept our wholehearted welcome and know that if you're unsure or have any questions about any of our topics and practices, we're all here to help. And if you are a regular, well, welcome back. So it is customary in Australia to begin any meeting by acknowledging the traditional owners of our land. So in the spirit of reconciliation, I would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we walk, study, and reside, the Wadi people of the Dharma Nation, and pay my respects to the elders past, present, and emerging. I also pay my respects to the traditional custodians of the various lands on which you all are. So just a little about our check-in sessions. The check-in sessions have been developed by our Communities of Practice team and the entire community with the purpose of developing a reflective practice in response to our changing world. Guided by humanistic Buddhism, we would like to help each other cultivate our practices and build memorable friendships. If you've been following along, you'll know that we tend to theme our sessions based on the needs of our community and the wider world. So we invite you to suggest any topics you think would be of interest and benefit so that we can continue in this spirit. Last month, we were fortunate to hear from the young and the wise as we explored the concept and practice of healing ourselves and others. This month, we're continuing on our little Bodhisattva journeys with the 6 perfections. Today, Ina Denton will be speaking on the first perfection, giving. Please welcome Ina.
I always get confused because I want to say good evening, good morning from Orlando. Let us first take some time just to center ourselves and give to ourselves in a couple minutes of meditation. Sit comfortably with your eyes closed or downcast, sitting upright but not rigid, and give your mind a rest. Now let's gently open our eyes, take a deep breath, and be ready to interact with one another as we build our community. Today we're going to embark upon about 4 weeks with a break in the middle of looking at the paramitas, and in conjunction with what we're talking about now, which is being on the Bodhisattva path and a way of also addressing self-care. And as you know, but a sort of a recap for all of us, um, the paramitas are generosity, which is meeting people's needs, self and others, um, morality, doing what is kind and just, um, and diligence, walking into life rather than finding a comfy place somewhere, and patience with others and with ourselves. And we'll probably be looking at self when we get to patience. In 4 weeks, we're going to do those four. We won't do meditation and wisdom. That'll be for another time. Although the practice of the first four, you need the second two. And by practicing the second two, it allows you to do the first four, because that's Buddhism for us. It's always a spiral, hopefully an upward spiral of thought and integration. There's a great book written by the Venerable Master that has some of the old parables on the paramitas traveling to the other shore. So if you are interested in looking at some thoughtful stories and some delightful stories, I encourage you to pick up this book. It's always in our libraries and in our bookstores and our temples. Um, our society now, as we were talking a little bit before you all came this evening, we've had pandemics, we've had political unrest, we're having killings. In fact, it saddened me to hear that New Zealand is now struggling with gangland killings. And we've had problems within our houses of worship, where people have come in to harm others. So it's almost like we have no sanctuary from harm. So I thought maybe we could look at generosity in a different way. Instead of first looking out, maybe we need to be generous to ourselves. So first, a generation of, or rather a definition of generosity. Um, in the Diamond Sutra refers to generosity, and the Venerable Master in the Diamond Sutra talked about, or he quoted from the Great Perfection of Wisdom treatise. So I thought, aha, I'm going to go to that and learn some things. And what I learned is that it's almost 1,000,000 words. So I thought, well, I'm going to go back to the Venerable Master's simple but profound way of explaining generosity to us. So for simplicity's sake, and to fit into 5 minutes, it's real hard to do 5 minute stints, I'm learning. I reverted back to the Venerable Master's ease of explaining the three types of generosity that are mentioned both in the Diamond Sutra and the treatise. And they are wealth, fearlessness, and Dharma. And the way that wealth is explained is that it's the tangible assets that we give to relieve suffering. That is a very basic way of giving, but as we look at how the giving evolves, that is the basic, but not the most important. Then the Venerable Master mentions fearlessness. And this reminds me of an old song. If you have time to listen to Andrea Bocelli, you can hear the words of "You'll Never Walk Alone." And it's when you walk through a storm, hold your head up high and don't be afraid of the dark. At the end of the storm is a golden sky. And that leads me to the third generosity that we need to give to ourselves, which is the third in this line, but actually the first, and that is the Dharma. That if we give ourselves the Dharma, it helps us know where the wealth belongs and how to reach out without being fearful. Um, I think that when we give ourselves Dharma, understand the Buddha's teachings, um, then we can set aside um, many of the difficulties that we experience in life. So now to our task. Um, I'm thinking that we could heed the advice of Ringo Tolpo Rinpoche, and I use his 6 little 3 to 4 minute videos when I'm teaching the paramitas. And what I like is he talks about generosity being a 2-step process. And the first thing we have to do is take care of ourselves so that we can give to others. And he said the first generosity in caring for self is to free oneself from poverty mentality. It's what I would call deficit thinking, what I don't have instead of what I do have. And that allows you to then be ready to train yourself to be generous to others. That if we don't take care of self first, we get into comparison, we get into thinking, well, I wish I had that, as opposed to feeling whole. And once we're whole, then we can be more generous toward others. So that takes me to some questions that I think we can ponder today. As we look at wealth, what wealth or tangible phenomena, when they're talking about wealth, you see the picture of coins, or giving things. What tangible phenomena do we need to be satisfied, truly satisfied, and what are the limits of what we need and what is very important for us to have in order to not feel poor, have that what is it he called it, poverty mentality. And then the second question that has to do with fear is that what scares or worries do I have that I need to overcome, and how can I overcome those? Number 3, through the Dharma. So how can the Dharma help me move confidently into the world so that I can be content and then freely give to others? Because until we are whole and until we feel confident and until we feel safe, it's difficult to give to others. So, Liam, you're going to push us around into our little groups, however that works. I wish I knew, so that we can ponder these questions. What wealth do I need in order to be satisfied? What worries do I have? And how can the Dharma help me move beyond those worries so that I can be that Bodhisattva serving others?
Okay, thank you, Anya, for your sharing on giving. It's given us a lot to think about, I'm sure. So it's over to you now, dear community, to discuss these 3 questions and any thoughts you might have with each other. So we'll be placed in groups of 3 to 4 to share and discuss. In the beginning, we recommend just spending a little bit of time to get to know each other. And then you can start discussing the questions as you feel ready. Of course, let the flow of your discussions guide you, but we'll give you a few prompts here and there just to keep you on track. Our sessions are guided by metta, unconditional love and kindness for all beings. So let's use this opportunity to express and receive loving kindness to and from each other by taking time to pause, share, and listen. Afterwards, we'll ask you to share some of your findings with the larger group, but for now, let's break out for some rich and nourishing discussions. See you all back in 15 minutes.
One of the things that, yes, I am unmuted. I'm unmuted for a change. One of the things that I want to remind us as we struggle with how to care for ourselves and not care for ourselves and not be selfish is that to know that we're all bodhisattvas in training. and that we must care for self, because if we don't care for self and are not whole, then we cannot be loving and kind to others. And once we care for self, we can boldly reach out beyond our comfort zone, not just do the easy stuff. And we are able to do that by continuing to study the Dharma for me, gives me strength to look beyond self and to make decisions. In fact, I'm thinking of diligence now, about what's the difference between busy and diligent. Diligence doing the things that are truly necessary. And that through that cultivation, we become stronger and more stable. And I think a lot of times one of the fears that we often have is to do the wrong thing, to fail. And that's why this little kid is on our bike with the training wheels, that we're going to skin our knees. And that's just all part of being on the path, being willing to risk doing and risk failing, because out of the failure comes our next joy of getting it right.
Thank you, Aina. We really hope that the check-in session was helpful to all of you, and we hope you experienced the unconditional love and compassion of this community. For anyone who might be experiencing a greater need than what today could meet, please don't hesitate to get in touch with us via email. You can also reach out to the professional organizations on the screen. So we hope you've enjoyed this little springboard into the perfections. Next week, we'll be continuing on with Aina as we explore the second perfection, morality. This is quite a loaded topic, so be sure to join us next week to find out how we can approach it without becoming too overwhelmed. We're also on the lookout for more inspiring stories, and we always love to hear from our community. So if you'd like to share your turning point, please don't hesitate to get in touch with us, or you can just hang around after the session for a chat. For now, though, as we check out today, let's recite the dedication of merits together to send love and compassion to each other and whoever is in need.
Let us now dedicate the goodness of what you have done to all living beings. May kindness, compassion, joy, and equanimity pervade all worlds. May we cherish and build affinities to benefit all beings. May Chan, Pure Land, and precepts inspire equality and patience. May our gratitude and humility give rise to great vows.
All right, thank you everyone for joining us for this check-in session. We'll continue now with our usual post-check-in discussion, so please stay around for the next half an hour or so if you've got time. Otherwise, we'll see you all again next Sunday at 11 a.m.